Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I have a cute gift bag featuring Spellbinders, something special glimmer plates, and an adorable die set Create a Flutter and Flower Bow. This is a simple project and it is just in time for Mother's Day. Using Spellbinders Gift Bag die set, 2 panels of soft rose cardstock were die cut. I'm going to use one of the large sentiments that comes with the Something Special glimmer plates and foil it on the front of my gift bag. I'm using one of my favorite glimmer hot foil rolls, Aura. I find it easiest to cut foil with scissors that have serrated blades. To minimize the chance of overfoiling, I'm going to trim the foil down so that it is just slightly larger than the hot foil plate. Although difficult to see in the video, there are score lines that indicate where the front of the bag will be. I want the sentiment centered in that section. So typically when I'm foiling like I did for the flowers and the leaves, I lay the plates directly on the hot foil system. Because I need my sentiment to be precisely placed, I'm going to put everything together on my work surface. So I basically do the opposite of what I would do if I was laying it out on the machine. I have my cardstock right side up, my foil shiny side up, and then the hot glimmer plate faces down on top of the foil. This little sandwich needs to be flipped over onto the hot foil system, so I use a little bit of purple low-tack tape to hold everything in place. And the result is a sentiment that is foiled in the middle of the section of the panel which will be the front of the bag. To put the bag together, I'm going to use double-sided tape, which is a strong adhesive by Sue Kwang. Start off by folding and burnishing all of the score lines. To create the bottom of the bag, there is 1 horizontal score line. There are also 2 diagonal score lines, which are folded just from the edge of the cardstock up to that horizontal score line. There are 3 vertical score lines. 2 of them are on one side of the bag. These are folded into a Z fold. Double-sided tape is placed along the single vertical fold on each side of the bag. I like to butt it up right against the cardstock edge. After the backing is removed on one of the strips of tape, the other side with the Z fold is butted right up along that fold line. To adhere the 2 sides together after the backing paper is removed, that panel is pushed down flat and the Z fold is opened up and then simply laid down, making sure that the top and the bottom are aligned. For the bottom of the bag, there are 2 triangular flaps that will be formed from the diagonal score lines. Once these flaps have been formed, I will open them back up again so I can add in some extra adhesive so that they will lay nice and flat at the bottom of the bag. A piece of the double-sided tape is placed in that little triangular area on the inside of the bag, and then it's folded back up again. After some more adhesive is placed on the inside of the flaps and they are closed up, I like to place my hand inside the bag and apply some pressure so that I get good contact between the flap and the bottom of the bag. To get the handles lined up on both sides of the bag, I first adhere one handle, and then before attaching the other side, I'm going to adhere the other handle. The 2 sides of the bag are pressed together so that the handles can be aligned. I give it a minute or so to let that glue set up and then go ahead and attach the other side on one of the handles. And I just eyeball it to try and get it at the same distance from the edge of the bag as the other one. Because the handle has been curled over, it is going to have to be held in place until that glue sets. And then the other side of the second handle is attached. The bag is decorated with roses and leaves from Spellbinder's Glimmer Edge Roses Glimmer Plate Set. One of the roses has sepals attached to it, so I foiled that one in both the green and the rose cardstock, trimmed off the sepals off the green one, and then adhered it to the pink rose. All of the roses were foiled in pink. The leaves were foiled with the same foil that was used for the sentiment aura. The flower and leaves were used to frame the sentiment. To add a little bit of depth to the floral design, some low-profile foam tape was used to attach two of the roses. And the rose will be placed so that it is peeking over the edge of the bag, so I make sure that the foam tape is placed so that it won't be seen from the other side. For an extra special touch to this bag, I'm going to be creating a bow using Spellbinder's new Create a Flutter and Flower bow die set. I'm going to be using the butterfly, but there is also a flower accessory for this bow. This is a super sweet set. I started off by die cutting the butterfly from both pink cardstock and vellum. On the dot detail on the cardstock butterfly, I'm adding in some pretty rhinestones. And that needs to dry completely, so I'm going to take my bow die cut and I'm going to softly shape either side so that it's easier to put together. A dot of glue in the center and I can attach one side, and I just need to hang on to that until the glue sets up, and then I can go ahead and attach the other side. And that doesn't take very long, and so now the bow can be attached to the ribbon die cut. I give the butterfly a gentle bend in the middle so that it can be adhered to the middle of the bow. And just to soften things up and add a little bit of differentiation between the butterfly and the bow, I'm going to adhere a vellum die cut over top. There's a thin band that is going to wrap around the center of the bow and the butterfly. The end of the band is attached at the front. When the glue is dry, then the band can be wrapped around a couple of times and it will be adhered at the back of the bow. And I use my reverse tweezers to hold everything in place until that glue is dry. I want the bow to attach to the handles of the bag, but in order for the recipient to get what is in the bag out of the bag, the bow needs to be removable. I'm going to be attaching a second band, but it's not going to wrap around, it's just going to be attached to the front of the bow. And on either side, I'm just going to use some Velcro. I'm actually using some Velcro command strips and attaching one piece on the inside of the band, and the other piece will go on the other end on the outside of the band. I ended up replacing this strip with a longer one because I wanted the bow not to be sitting at the top of the handles, but on the side slightly so it could be seen from the front of the bag. And then after I added in a few more leaves here and there, the bag was finished off with some beautiful silver confetti topped with Nouveau Crystal Drops Morning Dew. And that wraps up this sweet and pretty gift bag just in time for Mother's Day with a couple of new products by Spellbinders. Create a Flutter and Flower bow is just the sweetest die set, and the sentiments from Something Special Glimmer hot foil plates are beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.